All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about what Bob Arum has to say about the Errol Spence Jr. Terence Crawford fight and whether he expects that fight to actually get made. One of the biggest fights in boxing, and according to Bob Arum, may be too big to make. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about what Bob Arum, the president, CEO, founder of Top Rank, has to say about whether or not the Errol Spence Jr. versus Terence Crawford fight is going to get made. Obviously, one of the biggest fights in all of boxing, and Bob Arum is most definitely, although he may have he may have a little bit of a gripe to hold over the fight. Still, what he has to say should be taken seriously, and is definitely worth talking. There's not much more of a knowledgeable guy in boxing on the subject than Bob Arum. But before we get into that, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are a longtime subscriber and supporter to the channel, thank you so much for your continued support in the live streams that we do Monday through that we do pretty much every day of the week, and the videos that we do in the video format. Thank you guys so much. Now, if you're new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon so you can participate in the conversations that we have on in the comment section and in the live streams of the stuff that we put out pretty much every day. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell icon so you can be notified of when we do it. Great boxing community, really, really good, fun conversations that take place on every day. All right, so bearer of bad news. Bob Arum pshaws the Errol Spence Jr. Terence Crawford fight and says that he doesn't see how that fight is going to get made, and gives a very, very solid reason for why he believes that. Now, just in case you were buried up underneath a rock, you know that the Errol Spence Jr. Terence Crawford fight is for the undisputed title at 147 pounds. You have Errol, who has the IBF, the WBA, and the WBC belt, and you have Terence Crawford, who has the WBO belt. Terence Crawford, by many people, including myself, is considered the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in all of boxing. You have Errol Spence Jr., who by many people is considered one of the top 5, and a lot of people have him top 3 pound-for-pound in the world, and as the #1 welterweight in the world. And that's kind of how I see him as well. I think that those are fair assessments. People always ask me, how can you have Errol as the #1 welterweight when you have Terence Crawford as the #1 pound-for-pound? Short story, in case so you don't have to put it in the comment section. Short story is that pound-for-pound is hypothetical and based upon everything being equal physically, and comparing the 4 area scoring criteria of boxing, while the #1 welterweight is who is actually in real life, punch you in the jaw type reality, the best guy in the division. And for me, that's Errol Spence. Now, big fight, hopefully will get made, hopefully it'll get made. A lot of people believe the fight is virtually all the way done. However, Bob Arum is not one of those. Bob Arum, who is the former promoter of Terence Crawford at Top Rank, and one of the, if not the, but probably the number one or top 3 promoters of all time, without a doubt. Maybe between him, gosh, man, I always forget the name of the guy in the Tex Rickard. That's the guy's name. Tex Rickard, who was the promoter for Jack Dempsey, and a really, really big name, and the #1 promoter in the sport in the 1910s, 20s, maybe all the way up to the 30s. But big name, just help really bring along modern boxing. Then you have Don King, obviously, who in the late 60s, the 70s, the 80s, all the way through the 90s was probably the #1 promoter. And then you got Bob Arum, obviously, who's right there, who's been there the whole time Don King has, and just has put on a lot of really good fights, had a lot of really big Hall of Fame fighters involved with them. So the guy knows what he's talking about. And what he says is that he doesn't see the fight getting made because of the issue around piracy and the fact that, you know, both of these guys are going to want to get they're going to want to get taken care of for the fight this big. Specifically, he talked about, you know, you get the guarantee and then you know that there's going to be money on the back end through the pay-per-views. But he's like, look, pay-per-views just are not what they used to be because anybody that has a kid that is a teenager can steal the fight, right? And don't have to pay for the fight. So, you know, the back end money that was there in the 90s and the early 2000s for pay-per-view before the internet era really, really blew up. You know, all of that money that was there for those guys are no longer there. And they're going to be looking to try to get their money in upfront guarantees and are not really looking for, you know, the necessarily counting on the back end to come through the pay-per-views because they're saying, look, that back end money really isn't there. So he says, unless you have some benefactor that can come along and invest a lot of money in the fight, he doesn't see that fight. He doesn't see that fight taking place or happening. Now, let me tell you right there that tells you why more than likely Terence Crawford is in court with Bob Arum. Because if Bob Arum did not believe in the Terence Crawford fight and Errol Spence Jr. fight, the Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. fight now, he probably didn't believe that it could get made based on what he knew or what he believed Terence Crawford would want to make, you know, when he was with Top Rank and Terence Crawford was negotiating with him and trying to get him to make the Errol Spence Jr. fight, right? So now, do I believe that Bob Arum is correct on this? I hope not. However, the truth in what he said is very, very obvious that, you know, that people are going to want big guarantees. Like Terence Crawford probably does want a big guarantee to make the fight, and he may not be as trusting of the pay-per-view dollars down the line and what that's going to mean, because it's just a fact. You can look at how many pay-per-views are getting sold on a regular basis, and the numbers are significantly down. Now, for me though, I don't really see that is necessarily, you know, the truth because of the following reason. Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao fought, and I do believe they fought in 2017, and they did a ton of pay-per-views, like over 4 million pay-per-views for that fight. And Floyd Mayweather Jr. also fought Conor McGregor, and that did, you know, over 3 million pay-per-views, if I remember correctly. And that was a time when it was easy to steal fights as well. It's not any easier to steal a fight in 2022 than it was 5 years ago in 2017, but yet those guys were really still able, because of the size of the fight and the interest of the fight, they were really able to, you know, still sell a lot of pay-per-views, right? So I'm not completely convinced that the back end money isn't all the way there. However, you know, it is very, very tough to overlook the fact that, yeah, you know, because people are stealing fights, especially apparently, especially Terence Crawford fans who have never really came out in droves to buy his pay-per-views before, right? But anyway, I'll leave that joke to the side. But anyway, that's what Bob Arum has to say about it. Hopefully he's wrong. Hopefully we'll get it. But anyway, that's his take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. Is Bob Arum just a flat out old hater on the situation, or does he have a little bit of truth to here? Because it's obvious it is taking a while for this fight to get made. But anyway, you let me know in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.